Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jack with Ride and Shine Detail, the co-founder and vice president, and this is Ride, Shine, Repeat. So today we are going to be talking about sealants. Not any sealants, our favorite sealants. There are so many sealants out there, guys. We've tested 10, 20, 30, you name the product, we've tried it. And we have narrowed it down to these three. Primarily, these two are our go-tos. And this is a new one, actually. This is Gyeon Wax. Now, I've actually recently just tried this out for the first time and it blew me away. Anything by Gyeon's, honestly, is incredible. You can never go wrong with their products. So I'll show you guys how this works in comparison to our two favorites, and it is an extremely strong contender. The only thing about this one is it doesn't last as long as the other two, whereas this is about a month to 2 months, so you're gonna have to be applying it pretty regularly depending upon the environment you're keeping your car in, how well you maintain it. Whereas our spray sealant, which is also by Gyeon, it is called Wetcoat, lasts about 2 to 3 months. And then finally we have our beefed up ceramic infused sealant, which is by Jescar. It is called Ultra Lock Plus. It lasts anywhere from about 6 to 8 to 9 months, depending again on the environment you're keeping it in. We always just say 6 months on average. As the same with any sealant, if you're keeping it in your garage, you're maintaining it well, you're not letting dirt sit on the surface too long, you'll probably get about 8 to 9 months out of this guy. So it's a very good once a year sealant application to use. And what's great is you can use Wetcoat to boost the properties of any of your sealants as well as your ceramic coating that you might have on your vehicle. So this is a really good booster as well as a standalone product. We actually use this in all of our details when we're doing something on the exterior like a car wash. We will apply this. It's 2 to 3 months. Very easy to apply. It knocks a ton of time out if you're a professional detailer looking for something to get the best bang for your buck, where you're still applying a sealant that's just as good, if not better than a carnauba wax, and you're cutting out a tremendous amount of time. So let's start off with Gyeon Wax. Gyeon Wax can be applied as a standalone product as well as a topper to your ceramic coating. And to apply this is like any other wax. You just get your applicator, take the top off, and it's kind of like a lipstick bottle. So you just twist from the bottom and it comes up, and you take your applicator, wipe some on, and then on a clean surface that you've prepped, where you've washed it, you've decontaminated it, whether it's with a clay bar, a paint decon, and I would recommend as well using Gyeon Prep, which we use in the shop as well for any of our ceramic coatings. It's an alcohol-based solution which will strip any oils, any remaining dirt off the surface. That way you have a nice, clean, bare surface for optimum bonding with your sealant. So you just go ahead and wipe it on, let it sit for about 40 to 45 minutes. You can leave it overnight for maximum gloss and protection, and then take your microfiber towel. You're gonna go ahead and just wipe that right off. We in particular are very fond of Clean Garage, their proprietary towels. This in particular is called Pinky. It's made for polish removal, ceramic coating, wax, and sealant removal. And it is a pearl weave as well. So if you want to look that up, I will link it down in the description, as well as any of our other products we have here. If I didn't mention it already, we have the Clean Garage proprietary microfiber applicator as well. And based off of my first impressions of Gyeon Wax, it is insanely glossy and hydrophobic. I'm talking hydrophobic properties that I've never seen, especially for something like a wax. But it is kind of a trade-off. So you know it's only gonna be lasting 1 to 2 months, so you're gonna have to be applying it a good amount, but you're gonna get insane protection and hydrophobic properties, where even though you're gonna be applying it 1 to 2 months, it's gonna keep the car so clean due to its self-cleaning properties. So it's not gonna be as much work each time. Next up, we have Wetcoat. This is our absolute favorite sealant to use. Not only because it offers great protection, but it's so easy to apply. It's a spray sealant. All you have to do is wash your car. You can decontaminate it if you like. I would recommend that as well with any of these sealants. Once the car is clean and it's still wet, all you do is just go ahead and spray some on, use your pressure washer and spray it right off, and you're good to go. As far as the application process is, I recommend using a linear spray pattern versus the angular, where it's more aerosol. And that's just because as a professional detailer, I'm doing this a lot, and I'd rather not be inhaling that wet coat on a regular basis. So as you saw, the linear angle pattern, there's not a lot of aerosol going on. And at the end of the day, when we're doing wet coat, it doesn't really matter how you're putting it onto the surface, it just has to get on there. So we recommend going panel by panel. Do it in indirect sunlight if you can. You can get away with doing it in direct light as well, as long as you're fast. We do it every day. It's not a big deal. Go ahead and spray about 2 to 3. You can maybe do 4 or 5 sprays per panel. Spray it right off and you're done. This will last you about 2 to 3 months per application. It can be used as a standalone product, as we always do with our exterior car washes. It can also be used as a booster to your ceramic coating or to your wax or your sealant. This stuff is great. It comes in bulk packages of 4 liters. You can also buy it in a single unit of 1,000 milliliters or 1 liter. And what's especially great about Wet Coat is that it can go on any surface, whether it's the windows, the paint, the trim, all the plastics. It can go on the rims, the tires. So you'll have your entire car protected against any kind of UV rays, chemical staining. It is an awesome, awesome product to use if you want to cut time and still apply a premium protection for your vehicle. So when applying this, you want to be generous, but not too generous. If you apply too much, you're going to end up having high spots where you're going to have to go back and use a microfiber towel and manually remove and buff off all those high spots, which essentially just defeats the purpose of this sealant, where you're trying to cut down time by just spraying it on and spraying it off with your pressure washer. I wouldn't recommend using this with just a hose. You should have a pressure washer when using it. Have a high pressure water contacting the surface, as that's what's activating the sealant to bond with the surface. You can't just use a hose and just lightly rinse it off. It needs to be something with high pressure. And next up, we have our favorite long-term sealant, which is Jescar Ultra Lock Plus. On average, it lasts about 6 months, but depending on your use case for your vehicle, you can get anywhere from 8 to 9 months out of it. So it's a good once a year type sealant. And what's really great about this is it's not only very hydrophobic. Honestly though, this Gyeon Wax is probably more hydrophobic, but we'll see that in the test. It is very smooth and it is very smooth, meaning if you take the back of your hand, I don't recommend using your fingertips, as you're gonna get a lot of oils on the vehicle surface. You take the back, there's less oils here, and you glide it along the surface. You can also feel it with a microfiber towel. It is like butter, guys. It's unbelievable. We've been using this for years. It is never failed us. And it is the same application process as any kind of wax, like your Carnauba or Gyeon's. You just take an applicator, put some on, wipe it on. Again, this is ceramic infused, so you're gonna wanna let it sit for about 45 minutes, and then you're gonna wipe it off with your microfiber towel. And what's really nice about this, especially if you don't have access to a garage to apply this, you don't have shade or you're a mobile detailer, this can be applied in direct sunlight. It's not gonna be like Carnauba wax where you have to sit there and monitor it and just be extra careful that it doesn't get baked into the paint. This stuff will come right off if it's been sitting there for 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It's very versatile. It's gonna give you great gloss, great protection. I highly recommend this. Now, if you want complete protection and you wanna use all these products, you can definitely do that. And that's something I actually recommend. First, what I would do is completely wash your vehicle, decontaminate, as I mentioned before, clay bar, paint decon. You're gonna wanna do Gyeon Prep to fully remove any oils, etc. And then you're gonna start with your Jescar Ultra Lock Plus. This is gonna be your year-long protection. Then you're gonna wanna apply Gyeon Wax after you've completely wiped up your Jescar Ultra Lock Plus. You're gonna let this sit again, just like you did that, for about 45 minutes. You're gonna wipe this up, and then you're gonna finish it off, if you want to do so, with Gyeon Wetcoat. You're gonna want to use Gyeon Wetcoat as your maintenance sealant. So every 2 weeks that you go and wash your car, you're gonna be resealing your vehicle with Gyeon Wetcoat. And then every 2 to 3 months, you're gonna wanna use this. The general timeline of application is gonna look like this. Your first wash, you're gonna use all 3. Once every 2 weeks on your maintenance wash, you're gonna be using this guy. And then once every 2 to 3 months, you're gonna wanna apply this during your maintenance wash. And then at the end of the year, you're gonna wanna start over new. What I would recommend is polishing everything off, decontaminate everything, clay bar, paint decon, Gyeon Prep again, and start the whole system over. All right, and now we can jump right into applying these products. I'll show you what it looks like applying and what the results are.
Up first, we have the Jescar Ultra Lock Plus. It's just like any other wax. Just apply a liberal amount to your applicator and then go ahead and wipe it onto the surface. Same deal here with the Gyeon Wax. We're just gonna wipe it on, and again, we're gonna let these sit for about 45 minutes. And finally, a little different here with the wet coat. As I mentioned, we are gonna do it on a wet surface and apply a liberal amount. Generally speaking, you can do 1 to 2 sprays, but for this purpose, I wanna get full coverage. And then we just go ahead and spray it off, and right away you can see the water tension changing, reacting with the wet coat. And lastly, just dry off the surface. Now for the water test, we got Jescar first, which is pretty impressive, not crazy. And then of course Gyeon Wax just absolutely blows it out of the water, literally just beating like a maniac. You can see why I fell in love with this so quickly. And then my favorite go-to, the ease of use, is the Gyeon Wetcoat. Very hydrophobic, easiest to use. It's always gonna be a winner in my book. And here we can see a more zoomed out view. And again, just Gyeon Wax is killing it. But this is not a long-term wax. It's only gonna last you a couple of months. So it's really all about what your goal is in terms of protecting your car. If you want long-term, I'd go with the Ultra Lock Plus by Jescar. Mid-term to short-term would be Gyeon Wax. And then our maintenance to all-around ease of use would be a Gyeon Wetcoat.
All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and ride, shine, repeat.